Okay, let's talk about the next generation, modafinil. So you may know modafinil by its popular perception as a cognition-enhancing drug, used by people like astronauts, fighter pilots, and even Barack Obama at one point. The characterization of modafinil as a smart drug is a little bit misguided, as the drug is actually a wakefulness-biased psychostimulant, originally intended to mitigate the effects of sleep deprivation, which it is really good at doing. In one study commissioned by the French military, modafinil was shown to preserve cognitive function in individuals subjected to 60 hours of sleep deprivation. Relative to other psychostimulants like amphetamine, modafinil seems more selective at activating certain wakefulness circuitry in the brain, and at equivalent doses possesses fewer stimulant side effects such as euphoria, rebound hypersomnia, and sympathetic overactivation. This makes it preferable for applications that require a stable mental state and consolidated wakefulness, and it actually replaced amphetamine as a go pill in the US Air Force for this reason. However, modafinil does still possess some cognition-enhancing effects in individuals who are well slept, although the effect size here is about with drugs like methylphenidate and is limited to only a select few cognitive domains such as memory updating. By comparison, the effect sizes seen in sleep-deprived individuals are much greater, which should reinforce the notion that modafinil is a cognition-restoring drug, secondary to its wakefulness action rather than a smart drug. Modafinil's ability to disentangle stimulation and wakefulness ushered in a new class of compounds, known as eugeroics, French for good wakefulness. And while modafinil is the prototypical compound of this class, it is not completely selective in its action and still possesses some stimulant effects. Because this is not the intended effect of modafinil, it can be reasoned that the next generation modafinil would actually be less stimulating while retaining its wakefulness effect. And this reasoning checks out. The company that markets modafinil in the United States, Cephalon, has actually published a 4-part series of their drug discovery process in search of a new modafinil. And while they did come across some pretty wacky looking compounds, they seem to have eventually settled on the candidate fluorinol, which possesses modafinil's pharmacophore in its chemical structure and was found to be 40% more effective than modafinil at keeping mice awake, despite its comparably weaker affinity for the dopamine transporter. Given how incomplete our knowledge of modafinil's pharmacology is, it's difficult to infer as to how fluorinol might be working, but we do know that the dopamine transporter is required for modafinil's wakefulness effects, that modafinil binds to this transporter in a conformation that is different than cocaine and methylphenidate, two compounds that are comparably more stimulant-like in their effects. So it's possible that fluorinol is even more selective for this conformation of the dopamine transporter, and in doing so may preferentially increase dopamine levels in areas of the brain involved in wakefulness, rather than areas that are implicated in other stimulant effects like euphoria. And finally, tying this all back to practical implications, if fluorinol were to undergo human trials and these effects were to translate, then fluorinol would have even less of an abuse potential than modafinil, which is already quite low, and possibly be suitable for over-the-counter status, as a superior occupational alternative to modafinil and perhaps even caffeine. Although I'm a bit biased though, let me know your thoughts down below, and stay safe and do your research. Bye.